Hello everybody and welcome back to Zooming into Scripture. We are going to be continuing this series that I've been doing on early secular sources to Jesus. So this video will be looking at not one, but two examples from Josephus, who gives us the longest secular reference about Jesus in the first century. Before looking at these examples, let's get some context on who exactly Josephus was. So Josephus was born in Jerusalem in either 37 or 38 AD and died in 100 AD in Rome. So he was born within a few years of the crucifixion and resurrection and would have been a young man witnessing the spread of Christianity. He was a Pharisee, scholar, and historian. A whole video could be made about the life of Josephus, but for the purpose of this video, we can get by with just this information. So let's take a look at the example in which the majority of scholars deem unaltered in its entirety. We find this in Antiquities 2200, and it reads this: having such a character, rash and daring in the context, Ananus thought with Festus dead and Albinus still on the way, he would have the proper opportunity. Convening the judges of the Sanhedrin, he brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called the Christ, whose name was James, and certain others. He accused them of having transgressed the law and delivered them up to be stoned. So there is some truly amazing information revealed here. We get an extremely early mention of the historical Jesus, and that he was referred to by his followers as Christ. Also, this corroborates Matthew having James being the brother of Jesus, as we read in Matthew 13, verse 55, "Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And are not his brothers James and Joseph and Simon and Judas?" Paul L. Meyer, hope I'm saying that right, of Western Michigan University notes this, quote, "This is an extremely important passage, since it has so many stunning parallels to what took place on Good Friday, and yet it seems to be largely ignored in revisionist New Testament scholarship. It tells of the death of Jesus' half-brother, James the Just of Jerusalem, under the high priest Ananus, son of the former high priest Annas and brother-in-law to Caiaphas, both well known from the Gospels." He goes on to write, "Accordingly, the vast majority of contemporary scholars regard this passage as genuine in its entirety. So this account not only corroborates the biblical account, but verifies Jesus, James, and others mentioned as historical people. But as mentioned before, this isn't the only mention of the historical Jesus Josephus makes. So let's look at our next passage, which chronologically comes first, found in Antiquities 1863, which was written in 93 AD, as I think I mentioned that before. If not, now you know. So here's what it reads. "About this time lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man, for he was the achiever of extraordinary deeds and was a teacher of those who accepted truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. He was the Messiah. When he was indicted by the principal men among us and Pilate condemned him to be crucified, those who had come to love him originally did not cease to do so, for he appeared to them on the third day restored to life, as the prophets of the deity had foretold these and countless other marvelous things about him. And the tribe of Christians, so named after him, has not disappeared to this day." All right, but we cannot analyze this text yet. As you may have noticed, it would be extremely weird for a Jewish Pharisee that never became a Christian to say Jesus was the Messiah. So this particular version of this passage was long expected to be interpolated by Christians at some point. But thankfully, in 1971 or 72, an Arabic copy of this passage was uncovered, and it read very similar, but there were some important differences that show no signs of later interpolation. And here's that version. "At this time there was a wise man called Jesus, and his conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous. Many people among the Jews and the other nations became his disciples. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die. But those who had become his disciples did not abandon his discipleship. They reported that he appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion and that he was alive. Accordingly, he was perhaps the Messiah, concerning whom the prophets have reported wonders. And the tribe of Christians, so named after him, has not disappeared to this day." Now, this is much more in line with what a Jewish Pharisee would say about Jesus. Paul Meyer, again, I'm going to quote him, notes this, and this is regarding the original, like not the Arabic version, but the original. Scholars fall into three basic camps regarding Antiquities 1863. 1. The original passage is entirely authentic, a minority position. 2. It is entirely a Christian forgery, an even smaller minority position. And 3. It contains Christian interpolations in what was Josephus' original authentic material about Jesus, the large majority position today, particularly in view of the Agapean text, I hope I said that right, the second one, which shows no signs of interpolation. Goes on to conclude, Josephus must have mentioned Jesus in authentic core material at 1863, since this passage is present in all Greek manuscripts of Josephus, and the Agapean version accords well with his grammar and vocabulary elsewhere. Moreover, Jesus is portrayed as a wise man, a phrase not used by Christians but employed by Josephus for personalities as David and Solomon in the Hebrew Bible. So to conclude, Josephus offers a secular look into the historical Jesus and reaffirms the Bible's historical claims, while again, like the other videos I've done, contradicting none. So if you found this video interesting, make sure to like and subscribe, as it keeps me motivated to keep making these videos, and let me know what you would like to see next, whether it be another historical look from outside the Bible, or just let me know, and I would be happy to look into it. And until next time, thank you guys again for watching.